we are finally here, guys. I have been meaning to get into this full-on collection video for a good long while. So we're starting off here at the top of my shelf, which is about 4 feet above my head. And I have my entire CD collection organized into not just genres, but micro genres. So we're going to start off in the top shelf, literally and figuratively, of my collection. This is basically my favorite genre of music because it's my favorite genre of metal. So this is my atmospheric black metal and epic black metal section. It also is going to include my folk black metal because I think those two genres have a lot of tendencies to be very folky and stuff like that. So let's get into it. I'm excited for this because I'm going to be doing these videos twice a week for the entire time. So this won't take, never mind, this is going to be a while, but I'm excited. It's going to give me some time to listen to new things that I have coming in. I have a little box set in the car that I've just been going through, and more things continue to come in periodically. So without further ado, we are not drinking beer. I'm having a Mountain Dew Voltage, which I haven't had one of these in literally years, and this is a gross amount of sugar. So if I get gradually perkier as I sip this, I guess you're welcome, I think. Oh man, that's freaking sweet. Anyway, if you see any weird grossness on my arm, I'm peeling a little bit from a sunburn that I got last week on a trip. So let's get to business. We're listening to this amazing Dungeon Synth ambient project, Galore, I don't know, from, I don't actually know where this band's from. I'm wanting to say it's Germany for whatever reason, but I don't know, but it's out of Northern Silence. This is really cinematic, ambient-ish dungeon synth, really based in maybe your more movie soundtrack style, video game soundtrack style, as opposed to being your 8-bit old school Nintendo 64 style of video games. This is more like a modern kind of epic fantasy game style of music. So let's get down to it. So we're starting off in the A's. We're gonna go through A through C this go round, and first one's in the atmospheric section of A. Sorry if you're all shaky. I have a new little stand, and it's connected to the table I'm using. I'll work out problems as I go with the series. First one I got is Agalloch's Pale Folklore album. My favorite Agalloch album, though this is one of my favorite bands, if not my favorite black metal band of all time, which obviously that is a thing to say, calling this band black metal. This is their debut album from 1999, 2007, the End Records repress. This is perfect album, majestic, about as close to my heart as a metal album can really get. Hallways of Enchanted Ebony is one of my favorite songs ever. She Painted Fire Across the Skyline, As Embers Dress the Sky. Man, you want to talk about amazing. This is a great record. Next, The Mantle. This is the End Records repress again. I'm not going to take this out of here because I don't really feel like I need to. Actually, yeah, I should. Whatever. This is what I'm here for. You guys are here to see the CD collection, not me just randomly yammer about nothingness. Here's a digipack. This is, I think, the fan favorite in the Agalloch catalog, which I respect. I really do. But this is probably my fourth favorite in their discography, which is kind of a hot take. But again, we're literally comparing gold bricks as far as I'm concerned. Next, this is probably my second favorite, Ashes Against the Grain. I don't have Marrow of the Spirit because it's expensive, and I just have trouble dropping 35 to 40 bucks on a CD. So if any of y'all got a lead on a good copy of that I can get a hold of on CD, hit me up. But yeah, this is an amazing album. I think these are all out on the End Records. This isn't a particularly exciting digipack. The artwork's not very impressive. This is a really cool photo of the band though, all around the fire, looking contemplatively. I believe that's John, and I think he's the one munching on the s'mores or whatever he's doing there. It's either s'mores or smoking a pipe, which, you know, I feel like smoking a pipe would be more up this band's alley than s'mores. It seems like s'mores are too much fun, you know? Too much fun for Agalloch. And the last of the Agalloch albums that ever came out. This is Serpent in the Sphere. Yeah, Serpent in the Sphere. A really cool digipack, honestly. I like this one a lot. As much as I loathe them. Look at that gorgeous photo. Got the die cut front cover with this image behind it of, I don't know, watercolored nonsense, I guess. But I just find this band endlessly amazing. This is my least favorite in the Agalloch full-length discography, but again, we're comparing Gold Bricks, y'all. Great record, all of the above. I'll have to play this one again soon because it's been a while since I heard that one, actually. But yeah, if you know where I could get a good copy of Marrow of the Spirit, let me know. Next, we're at Alcest, Asestelun. This is the only one that I have from this band. I like it, but I'm not as quite impressed as some people seem to be with this band. Oops, good thing I have carpets. That was tragic. Anyway, but yeah, this is a really good post-black metal album. I'm sure all of you are familiar with this one by now. I mean, there's nothing particularly underground about Alcest at this point. I feel like you talk to anybody who's not like in the know, you know, not somebody who's like into black metal, you talk to them about black metal, that's one of the bands they'll bring up. If they're like a newer metal fan, you know, not meaning like periodically they've been listening to metal for like a month or something. I mean like people that are more of a fan of newer metal bands, if you get what I am talking about. So Alcest. Next we're going to get into another amazing discography. This is the self-titled album from Alda. This is out on Eisenwald. Really cool digipack. That would be a Killer shirt, which I believe exists. I will eventually pick that up. This is another band that is absolutely breathtaking. This band holds a little bit more of the grimness into their atmospheric style of black metal. These guys, I believe this is like a band full of like collegiate level scholars, if I understand the band's lore correctly. I don't know, I might be an idiot, which I'm definitely an idiot, but either way, all this self-titled, a great record. My favorite in the Alda catalog, which is Tahoma. This is another record that I absolutely adore. I absolutely cannot tell you how much I love this album. Get a load of that album cover. I forgot exactly what particular kind of salmon that is that all turn red when they swim upstream for mating season, but brilliant Eisenwald Records repress of this CD. I don't know, man, this album in particular just hits me hard. It just has such a good connotation of my, you know, formative years of getting into black metal, when I had a bunch of buddies who were into this, when we would go hang out in the woods, go for walks, listen to these tunes, hang out and do whatever. And this is an album that really hits me hard on that a nostalgia meter. Another great one, this is Passage. I have them all. I have all my digipacks in these poly sleeves because I try to take care of these absolute terrible format of CDs as much as I can. Really nice paper though. I like that a lot. Good look. Another really cool fire shot of the band. I think that's a good look. Really sick disc tray art. I believe that would make another very good t-shirt Alda if you somehow see this. I'm an enormous fan if you do. This is co-released with Bindrune. This in particular album, I don't think Tahoma was. Yeah, Tahoma was just Eisenwald. This one was co-released with Bindrune. And the most recent full-length from the almighty Alda, A Distant Fire. This was brilliant. This is 2 years ago, 2021. So yes, two years ago at this point, which is making me feel old, which is hilarious because I'm in my 20s, and I know all my buddies who are older than I am are gonna tell me I'm a nerd for saying that. But check out that. Get a load of that beauty. Gotta love it. Seriously brilliant stuff. A Stonebreaker, Forlorn Peaks, the title track. I really like the kind of ritual ambience this band creates with their acoustic instruments. It's just absolutely stellar. And so far, they've yet to do any wrong as far as I'm concerned. I know both in the Agalloch and the Alda camp, I have a lot more to get because there are EPs and demos and things like that. I will get them eventually. Yeah, you can only buy so much, man. And once you're like, you spend enough time with the band, you know, you wind up not buying so much of it because you've heard so much of it. Whatever. Next, this is a band from Belgium called Ancient Rites, Fatherland. I believe this to be one of their more classic albums. This is their third or fourth record, maybe, from 1998. So this is a band that started off as a very Norse-inspired black metal with a little bit of a pagan feel to it, and this album kind of embraces that pagan and Viking style that will be popularized by Bathory a couple of years before this. Just brilliant stuff. I missed seeing this band at Metal Threat Fest because I couldn't make it in the United States, which is pretty lame. I would have really enjoyed that, especially because I don't think I would get many opportunities to see Ancient Rites. But nonetheless, I'm very glad to have this CD. And I also need to revisit this. It's going to be a common theme throughout this, because, you know, you get so much music, you can't listen to everything, you know. I mean, even I feel like sometimes I digest ridiculous amounts of music in a day. You know, I'll listen to 8 or 9 records in a day, and then other days I'll listen to maybe one or half of one. Some days you just don't feel like it, you know. So you can't just do everything all at once. Next is an amazing album from Sweden. This is For Snow Covered the Northland by Ancient Wisdom. Really good repress, really pretty album cover. And this came with a load of stuff. Came with demos and all kinds of other cool stuff on it. 2-disc set. So this is a kind of atmospheric, melodic-ish black metal band that has a whole load of doom influence to it. Looks very nice. It's seriously breathtaking music. This was a regular stay back when I had to commute to work in the car, because I would drive through forests and farmlands, which is the majority of my locality as it is, but it was all covered in woods, and I live in Wisconsin, so we get nice, beautiful rolling hills with, you know, slopey limestone cliff sides and things like that. I live at the bottom half of the Kettle Moraine, if you're familiar with Wisconsin by any means. This is brilliant record. Next, I blind bought this at a local shop some years ago, and I've loved it ever since. This is Ban with Antiochia. This is a German project, and it's stellar. It's really great. So this I could have possibly put into the ambient section, ambient black metal section that I have, which is forthcoming. But this is really neoclassical inspired, maybe atmospheric-ish, epic-ish black metal, but it really toes that line. You know, the neoclassical element really gives it an epic feel, but it's also a really creepy atmosphere. I've talked about this in the past, and I said it kind of gives me the same atmosphere of, if you've seen the original Dracula, Bela Lugosi Dracula movie, where you're walking down into where his coffin is, and there's like a spiral staircase on like a stone wall with torchlight. It kind of reminds me of that atmosphere. And that's cool, man. Not a lot of bands can do that for me. I mean, there's a lot of really creepy atmospheres in this genre of music, but this one in particular, I haven't found anything that sounds quite like this. So if you haven't heard Bann, B-A-N-N, from Germany, go listen to this, because you will like it if you like this style of music. Next, I blind bought this in a big old package I bought from Poland off Discogs. This is Tyndyr, T-Y-N-D-I-R, by Barrel Lens. This is registered as progressive black metal on the Metal Archives, but I'm not getting a lot of prog, man. I'm getting a lot of your kind of Cascadian black metal influence, maybe with a little bit more melody to it. as opposed to being straight up atmosphere, which I guess might be the connotation of progressive listed on their bio on the Metal Archives. But I really enjoyed it. It's a really good record. It's really listenable. It's got a lot to chew into. You know, there's a lot going on this record, and that kind of keeps it interesting. You know, it almost has like an Icelandic style to it. If you're familiar with Svartadati and the early Solstafir, it has like a weird dissonance to it. I don't know what the word actually would be that I would call that style in that era of music, but it's a really great record. Barrellands really nails it. We're about to get into a section that might be argued out of the atmospheric black metal, epic black metal section, but this band is the black metal band as far as I'm concerned, and I have their whole catalog, and I listen to them in the same mood as my atmospheric black metal, but they're the founders of Viking metal, the founders of black metal in general. Bathory, I had no place I could put it otherwise, because I look at this band as the Viking era for the most part. I love this early stuff. It's fun. This is a mess of an album a bit, but it's a fun mess, you know. It's like a speed metal, really aggressive black metal album, man. Thrashy black metal, 1984. I mean, come on, 1984, and this was going on? Are you kidding? I mean, Venom was going, and so was Sodom, and Celtic Frost, and Hellhammer, but that's first wave black metal, man, right there. Killer. Second album, The Return of Darkness and Evil. Amazing. This is probably my favorite of the early Bathory catalog. Excuse me. Mountain Dew's fighting back, man. Really good. Kind of, this is still pretty thrashy, but it's getting that black metal haze to it, you know. This is really where, I think this is definitely the main inspiration for the Norse style of black metal. I feel like I've heard people from Darkthrone saying that this is the album that inspired them. It could be the case. If not, I would be surprised, and it definitely sounds like it. The Return. Under the Sign of the Black Mark. They're so classic. What can I say, dude? Simple stuff. Black Mark pressings, for the most part. One or two of these might be bootlegs because I got them on eBay. I don't really remember, dude. I've had these for a while now. So this was my favorite Bathory album for a long time. Bloodfire Death. I feel like this is the fan favorite. This or Under the Sign of the Black Mark. It's probably my top 5 still, but it's a great record. It still maintains a lot of the thrashy black metal taste with songs like Holocaust and stuff like that. But, you know, A Fine Day to Die, The Golden Walls of Heaven, For All Those Who Died, the title track, Dis Irae or whatever, also kind of maintains a bit of that thrashiness. It's good stuff. It's very transitional, and it makes good sense as to where they were going to hear this album. Here's where we start getting into the heat of the Bathory catalog. This was my favorite as well for a long time, which is number 2 still, Hammerheart. Brilliant record. This is maybe the second Bathory album I ever purchased. It's just classic amongst, this is the Titan as far as metal goes in my book. This band is the top 5 metal band of all time for me. But this album in particular, Baptized in Fire and Ice, is probably my favorite song on here. But, you know, man, One Road to Aes Sedai is a classic, one of the best songs in metal history. Viking, black metal, whatever you want to call it. It's brilliant, dude. This album, I hear people say that this isn't the greatest ever or anything, but I think it's brilliant. Twilight of the Gods, Bathory, another brilliant record. The title track is probably my favorite on here, but Blood and Iron is great. To Enter Your Mountain is a cool little tune in there. The song Hammerheart on here, it's great, dude. This is just atmospheric and it's trudging. It's got a nice slow churn to it, and I think Bathory really shines when they keep in that mid to slow pace, and this is just brilliant. I'm about to figure out the shakiness. It's kind of perturbing. So after that came a bit of a change for 2 albums. This is Requiem. I believe this was the next in the chronological order. This or the one I'm about to show. I kind of might have them mixed up. I don't particularly remember. But this is actually a pretty good thrashy album. It's a fun, you know, Teutonic infused. Maybe I'm hearing a lot of English thrash on this album. Tell me if you guys hear that too on Requiem. I get a big Sabbat feel from this. Obviously English Sabbat or things like that. Hydra Vein. And it's kind of tech thrash at the same time, and it works pretty well. It's not the Bathory album I wanted. It's not a Bathory album that I return to constantly by any means, but it's a really decent record. It's the first Bathory LP I ever purchased. I got it for cheap, but nonetheless, I think that's something. That really does say something, and I feel like this album gets more crap than it deserves. Now this right here, not the greatest by any means. Octagon. This is kind of that, but it feels a little 90s. Feels a little groovier, feels a little bit less exciting. I don't know, it just feels like a mess, a jumbled mess. And I bet that there's a story behind it, of which I'm blissfully unaware of, but Octagon. Now here we are. This, the king, the greatest Bathory album. Blood on Ice. I cannot get enough of this album. I listen to this several times every year, and it's always something that blows me away. This is the background on my phone for a long time. That brilliant blue Necrolord album cover. But The Lake is probably my favorite song from Bathory ever. Man of Iron, The Stallion, The Wood Woman, Gods of Thunder, of Wind, and of Rain, the title track, The Ravens, the entire thing is perfect. The narrations done by his father are brilliant. This whole album is a journey, an atmospheric, perfect album. This is pretty low on the totem pole for me though. Destroyers of Worlds. It has the same effect as Octagon, but even less exciting for me. I do need to pick up the Jubileum compilations. I don't have them. I just have trouble spending $18, $16 on compilation discs of songs. For the most part, I have. I know there's certain songs that I don't own because of my lack of purchasing them, like Crawl to Your Cross and things like that. But I gotta pick those up eventually. I'll wait till I find them in like used bins, or if I find them in a store, I'll pick them up. Because I'm more inclined to purchase that in person as opposed to ordering it. And I'm going to show both of these at once because they go together. Nordlands 1 and 2. Some of the greatest music ever recorded. Some of the most brilliant music ever put on disc. They're just eternally perfect. I'm in a mood now. After talking about that much Bathory, I'm just like mind blown at how good a discography can actually be with, you know, two kind of stinkers, but like the quality of everything else is just like, you know, I don't know, man. Next, French black metal, Belanos. What is the album's name? Spécilige, something like that. I don't speak French by any means, but this is a really good folky, pagan, atmospheric black metal album. Very much so in your maybe Eastern European flavor. If you're a fan of maybe your Ukrainian kind of symphonic touched, there's no symphony or anything like that on this, but it carries a similar weight to it. It has a similar atmosphere, and I really enjoy this. This kind of does remind me a lot of the Baltic bands. I'll pick up more of this as well. This is a Northern Silence release, as you might imagine, my favorite record label of all time. Great stuff. Stack over here is getting a little discombobulated. Let me fix that real quick. I don't want stuff toppling over, going behind the TV. It's on the cat tree, so Kronos and Fauna are a little livid right now. Next is an album that got a little bit of crap last year, but I thought it was pretty good. Black Braid with Black Braid 1. I saw this dude's working on new material. I will be checking that out because I did think this was pretty good. More Native American themed black metal, which is the trend of the modern day. Really love this image. That is absolutely amazing. Really, really cool. But nonetheless, it's a good melodic tinged atmospheric black metal album. It rides more in your Druk vein as opposed to, you know, something a little bit more heady and kind of crazy sounding. But it's a good record. I do enjoy it. Not too much to say. Here's one I need to revisit, where the Leaden Dawn meets Iron Shores by Bron from, I don't remember where this is from off the top of my head, but it's out on Wolfspell Records, 500 copies limitation. This was another blind buy at one of my local stores. They bought a huge metal collection from the guitar player of the hardcore death metal grindy band, whatever, No Zodiac. And they do as a serious black metal head, so I could have broed down with that guy pretty hard. And this is a great record from what I remember, but I don't remember a ton of it. I remember it being epic, and I remember it being really hazy sounding. So I will revisit this and maybe play it in another video and talk about it. But Bron. Next, Blut aus Nord with Memoria Visionen 2, Dialogue with the Stars. This is arguably the best Blut aus Nord record, depending on what era of this band you're a really big fan of. But it's the only one that I have from this atmospheric era. But it's a great record, man. This is the thing that sold me on this band, in all reality. And I think it's something that continued me revisiting their stuff. I have a couple LPs and I have one more CD from this band. It's great. The other record sounds nothing like it, which would be the newest one, being the name I don't remember, Disharmonium, Undreamable Abysses. This is a new record from last year. They got every bit of hype that it deserved because it's awesome. It's heady and it's hard to listen to, but it's really, really good. Slipcase, not particularly pointless for once, but check that artwork out. They could have just left it that, and I bet they would have sold more records. Just putting that out there. Really, really dense Cthulhu mythos inspired blackish metal, black metal, I guess you would call it. It's pretty black metal, but it's so much more, you know. It has a similar atmosphere to Portal, if you guys are a fan of Portal. At least that's what I picked up on it when I was listening to this. It kind of has the swirling, uncomfortable dissonance. Blut aus Nord really nails it on this one. It's really, really cool. I'm excited to see where this goes. This guy switches up styles like, you know, you change your underwear, so it's pretty interesting to trace his lineage all the way back to, you know, the first couple records, which are really keyboard heavy atmospheric black metal, and he came to this and through the whole psychedelic era and the regular atmospheric black metal. It's really good. Next, one of my favorite black metal albums of all time, Caladan Brood's Echoes of Battle. What can a guy say, man? What can a guy say? Too good for its own good, man. This should be in constant pressing, which I think nowadays it really is, which is great. This is out on Northern Silence. It's not just summoning worship, man. It's got tons of summoning influence, but it you know, it smells and tastes kind of like summoning, but there's a complexity and flavor to it, if you get what I'm talking about. It's just a really, really killer album all the way through. And it's another journey. This is up there with the greats as far as I'm concerned. Next, this is Nature Stays Silent by Can Bard. This is a Swiss black metal band. Amazing, brilliant, epic album. Well over an hour. I think it's about 76 minutes or so, which if you can keep my attention for 76 minutes, you're doing something right. This is bombastic and it's really folky and kind of neoclassical inspired, and it's, again, a Northern Silence release, which is a quick way to get to my heart if you get on that label. Another one from them, this is The Last Rain. This is the middle child of this band's catalog as of right now. I haven't spent as much time with it as the first one or the newest one, but it's very, very cool nonetheless. Great record. All the same things apply as to the first one. It's just I heard the first one first, so I tend to revisit it more often. I do have the third one, but it's in my odd-shaped discs, which you can vaguely see right there. It's all box sets, A5 digipacks, DVD case, CDs, things like that. That'll be its own video. But yeah, Ken Bard. What do we got next here? All right, so this is great. This is A Somber Wind from a Distant Shore by Canisteris. This is a Minnesota-based black metal band. This is out in Moribund. This is one that I picked up from my buddy, as this was one of those nostalgic albums for me that kind of sat firmly in our players for like 2-3 years back when we were doing lots of nature hiking and things like that. And it's just a really nostalgic album for me. It's a lot of fun to listen to because of that. It's a bit emotive. It's very, they've come to their own quite a bit on this. You know, they're very inspired by other bands, but it's noticeably Canisteris, and I think it's a great project. And I think this guy has a YouTube channel. I think he's a luthier and he builds guitars, which is sick. So check out Canisteris if you like ambient, kind of more aggressive, atmospheric black metal. This next one here is I picked up from Brian Arkham. This is Andyn Manor Canisteris. This is from 2018, again out on Moribund. Just more really good stuff. This one's a little bit more aggressive, I feel. Let's check out the shirts. I see a Druk shirt, and I don't recognize the other shirt, but this is good stuff, dude. It's just seriously, Canisteris is something you need to check out if you haven't. And one more for this video. This is way longer than I want it to be. I wanted these to be like 20 minutes. But Crepuscule de Hiver. I don't know how to pronounce this by any means. I have no clue how to pronounce that that album title. But this takes the summoning style of black metal and kind of flips it on its head. You know, it kind of takes that epic, beautiful black metal that just captivates your imagination. It still does the same thing, but it really, really darkens it. This is like, you know, you're listening to Dol Guldur or something like that. That's kind of hanging out in like the nice parts of Middle Earth, the pretty landscapes, you know, all those kinds of things. And this is like hanging out in Isengard. This is the spooky side of Middle Earth. It feels really vampiric. It has a ton of that kind of dark griminess to it. It's a really weird contrast with the style of which it is, and it's really, really enjoyable. I need to listen to this again. It's been a while since I put this guy on the player. It's another one that I think has to make a return here pretty soon. This would be the return of Darkness and Evil, because this is a captivatingly creepy album, and it's a great record. Crepuscule de Hiver. All right, that's the first installment, y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'm very excited to continue this series for the foreseeable couple of months. It's going to be a lot, man. It's going to be a whole lot, and I'm very excited for it. So I'm going to shut my filthy mouth and go do something else. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Keep it greasy.